To Plug and Play. We can do a clap. Sure.
We can do a clap, sure. That'll warm you up a bit.
Woo!
All right.
Energy. It's a pleasure having everyone here. I will go through a Plug and Play presentation briefly, but before I do so, I wanted to give a warm welcome to everyone and also thank Procter & Gamble Ventures as well as AARP for hosting this event with us today, and wanted to give a little bit of background of why we're here and what brought retail and health program here together today.
That's right. Thanks, Netta. So Procter & Gamble is a partner with Plug and Play in our brand and retail program. One of our longest standing partners, in fact, probably predating when we had industry-specific programs. And we've worked with them in a lot of different ways, mainly in connecting them with startups that have existing solutions in areas where there's a proven brief or working directly with their brands. But with P&G Ventures, it's been a little bit different in a very exciting way. And P&G Ventures, if you don't know, they are serving the entrepreneurs. They are out there, and they're not just talking about it, they're out there actually making it happen and connecting entrepreneurs with their resources to scale the next billion-dollar brand around specific pain points. And when we started talking about this topic and redefining aging at home and this pain point, what was really exciting for me is that it crosses so many different areas. It's not just a brand and retail problem. It's not just for health. It's mobility. It's IoT. It's all these things working together. So I'm really excited, and thank you so much to the team for making today happen. I'm hoping that this is just the beginning and you get a lot of interesting ideas and potential partnerships that make a difference in this space.
Thank you, Will. Excellent. And with that, I'm going to jump right into kind of the Plug and Play introduction. So how many people have been to Plug and Play before? And how many people know the Plug and Play story? Okay, great. I will tell my side of the story, and I'm just going to drop this here, of this building and kind of the rich history behind Plug and Play. So I happen to be third generation family member in the family business of Plug and Play. My grandfather actually came here prior to the revolution in Iran in the 70s and started Medallion Rug Gallery, where this beautiful rug I'm standing on is from. And we've actually added some here as well as in the lobby, but essentially we started off in the Persian rug industry in the 70s, right down the street off University Avenue. And further up the street, my uncles and my dad started the next generation of the family business, which was real estate investment and real estate development. And we had this lucky building in downtown Palo Alto where we were renting office space as landlords to some companies, small companies, big companies, Google, PayPal, Logitech, and Danger. And we had some really lucky fortune in the early days to have such great tenants in our building, and we felt like we were missing out on an opportunity to have equity in these companies and to invest in them. So we found clever ways to invest, and PayPal was one of the early on investments where my uncle actually didn't trust Peter Thiel to pay the rent, so he negotiated 1 year's rent in advance and then invested that money into the company. And we started finding more and more clever ways like that to angel invest back then. And Google actually back in those days, Larry and Sergey are in that picture, Marissa Meyer is in there. They started off in that building and outgrew that space as well. And essentially, we expanded our model to where we are here today in this building here in Sunnyvale, and took that Good Karma building and scaled it to where we are today. Now we run about 50 innovation programs globally across 14 different verticals. We work with corporations like AARP, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson to identify gaps in the healthcare market, the retail market, the insurance industry, and then match those gaps to startups that fill those gaps. And essentially for that, we work with about 200 corporations across these 14 different industries in corporate innovation. And then we invest Plug and Play. So we specialize in pre-seed to Series A. We invest anywhere from $25K to $500,000, with our sweet spot really being $100 to $150K. Those are the three main things that we do here, and I'll elaborate a bit more on that. But Will, if you'd like to add anything.
No, I would just encourage you, if you have questions throughout the day, to go check out Slido. Slido.com. You go there, there's a special hashtag for this event, aging. You don't have to put the hashtag, it's already there. But throughout the day, we'll do some polling, some questions, so as you see things, go there, check it out, and be sure to ask us some questions.
Great. And a little bit about our early success. So some companies that we invested in the early days, you recognize probably some names like Dropbox and Guardant Health and some of the others. A little bit of background about our portfolio. So typically about 1% of our portfolio is in that unicorn category, so $1 billion in valuation, about 10% in the 100 million plus range, and then the rest in the 25 to 100 million. And our sweet spot is to really invest in companies at the pre-seed stage when they're valued less than 20 or 10 million in valuation. What we do at Plug and Play in a nutshell, so we started off with logistics and operations, providing office space. We expanded into investments, and then mentorship, and actually Friday we get together here in this room and hear about 15 to 20 startup pitches in different industries. This Friday happens to be health, so if anyone's interested in coming back, we'll be hearing from 15 to 20 healthcare startups. And in the audience, we'll have our executives in residence, our angel investors, our VC network, as well as our corporate network, evaluating those startups that come into Plug and Play the first time around. And then we do corporate innovation. So we'll have these 2-hour deal review sessions where we deep dive into technology interests of our corporate partners. We have these matchmaking sessions, so similar to a topic like aging at home today, we'll dig deep into other topics as well. And then we run these accelerator programs, and I'll talk a little bit more about those. A typical month at Plug and Play, so you'll see a lot of different corporate logos here and activities. These are these 2-hour deal review sessions where we dig deeper into these technology interests of our partners. And really the point here is that, these corporates are also coming here to interact with one another. So whether it's an event like today or event like our expo or demo day, it's an opportunity to talk to like-minded people in these specific sectors. And also it's an opportunity to meet startups that you may see over big data and analytics companies, but really the ones that we'll show to our corporates are the ones that can get a pilot or a licensing deal or an investment. So one of our favorite companies, Previdere, which I can talk about offline as well, is essentially doing forecasting and predictive analytics, and they've been able to work with both our retail partners, our insurance partners, and our fintech partners. So that's the company that we'll be showing in sessions to come. Our 14 different programs, so Brandon Retail and FinTech were actually the original innovation programs that we started here at Plug and Play in 2013 and 2014. We started our health program in 2015. It was a spin out actually of from our IoT program. And now we have about 14 different programs across the globe, but here in Silicon Valley, we're running all 14 tracks. So a lot of great overlap, and today's a good example of health and retail overlapping. Our health partners comprise of, pharma, providers, payers, and medical device companies. And then our retail partners, I'll pass it on to Will.
Sure, thank you. And we're on our 10th batch we just completed. It's all different areas. It's your fast-moving consumer goods, luxury and apparel, both the brands and retailers that sell that, as well as all the service providers. It's everyone in the ecosystem that needs to be involved if you have a new idea or technology that needs to get into the industry faster. And I feel like as retail is one of the oldest programs here, we've tried and pivoted ourselves many times to figure out what happens. And most of the things that succeed are tied back to this open innovation and overlapping model, where you get innovation from one space that applies to the next. And I'm very excited about today to see kind of what the possibilities are.
Great, excellent. So our sourcing process for these 3-month accelerator programs, every 6 months we go through a sourcing cycle. We look at about 500 to 1,000 startups per location, per topic. We narrow it down to the top 100 startups in those industries, and then we'll see about 40 of those in person where they come to the game room next door. Each startup will present about 4 to 6 minutes each. The room will be filled with the corporate partners per each vertical, And then together we end up selecting the 20 startups that get into the batch. And throughout the 3 months of the batch, we'll put together a curriculum that comprises of sessions with these corporates, as well as the VC network and other mentors as well. And it's the same process across health, retail, fintech, IoT, and all the programs that we run. You may ask where we find these companies. So Plug and Play focuses on finding both the early stage companies as well as late stage. So we are stage agnostic, since we don't take equity from the startups that participate in the program if we don't invest. We can work with companies at all stages. Our earliest channel for deal flow is universities, so we'll partner up with universities. We actually host a university pitch session every month as well to find those pre-seed opportunities coming out of Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, you name it. We have applications that come inbound, so people applying directly through the website. We have events both domestically and internationally where we'll speak to recruit companies. We'll have government partners that refer companies to us directly. So these are startups that are being sponsored to come out to Silicon Valley from Austria, Korea, Taiwan. We have active sourcing, so we have a team of about 50 folks on the ventures side that are actively screening companies, having 15, 20-minute calls with 10 companies a day. And then lastly, our VC partners will send us companies as well, whether it's their portfolio companies or companies that may be too early for them for investing. A little bit about our health partners. So we have, pharma providers and industry partners as well. We have about 3 locations currently for health. These are some of the topics. So telemedicine, digital health, remote patient monitoring, aging at home has been a big topic for us within health as well. And then medication adherence and wearables and devices will be something you'll see today as well. But we're really excited to bring these 2 worlds together through this event, and more to come. A little bit about our health portfolio and investing. So we as Plug and Play do what we do to find good investment opportunities. So this is a little breakdown of our health portfolio to date. One of our portfolio companies, Giant, that could be actually quite relevant to this space. They're a health assistant and chatbot that's able to answer any health-related question that you would ask it. They initially launched with the Zika virus in Latin America and scaled that way, and now they're focusing on other diseases as well. The 4 locations that we cover healthcare right now, we have programs in Silicon Valley, Cleveland, Munich, and we're starting off with events in Shanghai, and we'll have an accelerator program there in 2019. Typical program structure, this is what we have for all of our programs. So we'll have the selection event where I mentioned the top 40 companies will present. We'll do an orientation and focus week and 3 focus weeks throughout. And I invite everyone to come back December 5th. We'll have our expo here in this room with about, I think, 400 people is our maximum that we can have this time, but we used to have more people when we would do it offsite as well. But welcome you to come back for that, where we'll have 20 startups from our batch 7 presenting here on stage. And with that, that's all that I have. If there's anything else that Will has to share.
Sure. Since Brandon Retail just finished our 3-month timeline, we had about 76 connections happen through that program in that time period, of which around 66 had some sort of follow-up. So it's really key to keep the discussions going. I encourage you to do that. And I do want to just call out, it looks like favorite seasons. Summer's ahead. It was tied with fall, but summer's ahead. That's awesome. I love that being from the West Coast myself. Although here, I think it's a funny question because I don't know if we really have seasons. I don't know if you hail from the East Coast. Here it's sort of like always within that 15-degree kind of band. But that's all I have. Keep the questions coming and the polls and the engagement. Hope you get a lot out of today. That's it for me.
Thank you, Will. And also don't forget to tweet using hashtag aging at home. I think that takes care of most of the housekeeping items as well as the plug and play intro portion. So with that, I'd like to welcome Chetan Parekh, Innovation Leader at Procter & Gamble Ventures and our co-host for today.